if you could fix your greatest mistake? But to do it, you had to brave impossible dangers, lose friends, and punch a hole through the fabric of reality itself. Would you do it? Would you gamble your life and your sanity if you knew that all timelines flowed into final space? Greetings, fanboys and fangirls. I'm Erod and I'm the Blockbuster Buster. In 2018, I went to watch Black Panther in the movie theater, and I was watching the trailers. Now, I have really good memory and I keep up with these things really well, so usually I can identify a trailer just by the first frame of footage or even by the music that plays during the studio logos. But this time around, a trailer played that I couldn't identify, and it was so epic, so funny, and the animation was so good that I knew midway through the trailer that whatever this was, I was going to watch it. But then when it ended, I was shocked to find out that it wasn't a trailer for a movie, but for a TV show. A TV show that was going to air on TBS of all channels. And that show was Final Space.
What the mother-loving crap is Final Space?
Oh, yeah, we'll get to that in just a minute. But first, we need to talk about how this all began. The backstory. Final Space was created by Olan Rogers, who was a content creator right here on YouTube, just like me. Olan generally posted short films, sketches, and stand-up comedy videos. But in 2010, he delved into the realm of animation by starting a 10-part series of animated shorts called Gary Space. Unfortunately, the series only lasted 3 episodes, as he and his partner, Dan Brown, decided to invest their resources to turn Gary Space into a full animated pilot to pitch to Cartoon Network. It was at this point that the project was retitled Final Space to avoid similarities to Steven Universe. Unfortunately, Cartoon Network would turn down Olan's initial pitch. So in 2016, Rogers uploaded the Final Space pilot to his YouTube channel, where it caught the attention of Conan O'Brien, who invited Olan to LA to pitch Final Space to TBS. And he even joined the project as executive producer. And with Conan's considerable weight behind the project, the network was quick to pick it up. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Hell yeah.
The plot. The series takes place far in the future and follows the adventures of Gary Goodspeed, who discovers and befriends an adorable planet-destroying alien named Mooncake, all the while serving out a 5-year sentence in isolation on board a self-automated ship called the Galaxy 1. The problem is, multiple parties are interested in Mooncake for multiple reasons, and Gary bravely agrees to protect the little guy no matter the consequences, even if it means going to the place where the universe ends, the place where all timelines flow, the place where mind-numbing horrors have been locked away. Final Space.
Oh my double crap!
And characters. Like the Wizard of Oz, Gary picks up companions as he goes along on his adventures, so the series ends up with a pretty big cast. In this section, I'm going to cover the characters that were principal players throughout all 3 seasons, and I will talk about the rest as we go along. For now, let's begin with the most nightmarishly vile being in the entire universe.
Final Space.
Nope, not him. Even worse. No, not even close. I'm talking about Kevin, played by Fred Armisen.
Oh, they're just so good.
I hate him so much! Sorry. Kevin is Gary's deep space insanity avoidance companion, meant to keep Gary company and tend to his mental health while he's serving his 5-year sentence alone on the Galaxy 1. However, one could make the argument that Kevin is actually detrimental to Gary's mental health.
Ooh, let Kevin help. Oh, good buddy, have a Kevin! You just faint him up on me like that.
Screw you, Kevin! Sorry. But the most annoying thing about Kevin is that he is seemingly unkillable. No matter the calamity, no matter the damage, Kevin always comes back.
For a second there, I thought it was...
I'm back!
No! I thought you died!
The Lord Commander, played by David Tennant. Originally, his name was Jack, and he was a member of the Infinity Guard, who was part of a mission to close the original breach to final space using an antimatter bomb, alongside John Goodspeed, Gary's father. The explosion killed everyone involved, except for Jack, who gained telekinetic abilities that he used to rise to power as the Lord Commander. Unfortunately, his powers are slowly killing him, and the only cure is in final space, and the only one powerful enough to reopen the breach is Mooncake.
Hey, Mooncake. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Alright, enough about the insidious evils of the universe. Let's talk about the Team Squad. Hugh, played by Tom Kenny. Hugh is the Galaxy One's AI, and is basically Gary's warden.
If you take a cookie, I will be forced to add 1 full day to your sentence.
One of the most beautiful aspects of this show is how Hugh and Gary's relationship evolves, from being inmate and warden to just being really good friends.
Gary, the cookies are done. I'll miss you, friend.
Avocado, played by Cody Calloway. Other than Olan, Cody is the only other cast member from the pilot to reprise his role in the animated series. So if you want to watch something that'll forcefully pull the emotions out of your face, watch the video in which Olan surprises Cody by telling him that he's gonna play Avocado in the animated series. Niagara Falls, Frankie. Niagara Falls. Avocado is a badass Ventrexian soldier and right-hand man to the Lord Commander, who only agrees to do the villain's bidding because he is holding his son hostage. Originally, Avocado's mission was to retrieve Mooncake and kill Gary, but in the process of which, he surprisingly ends up joining the crew of the Galaxy One and becoming Gary's best friend. These two are so different, and yet they fit together perfectly, kind of like Deadpool and Cable, the stern warrior and the optimistic screwball. Hey, if Han Solo can have adventures with a 7-foot-tall anthropomorphic dog, then Gary can most certainly have a Catman as his wingman. Without hesitation, Gary agrees to help Avocado get his son back, as he lost his father when he was very young, and strongly believes that no kid should ever go through that.
I would have straight up helped you get your son back.
What? Why? You barely know me. I have nothing to give in return.
Yeah, you do, yo. Your friendship, yo.
Which leads to Little Kato, played by Stephen Yeun. Little Kato is a child of tragedy, sadly growing up a little too fast, due to going from one terrible experience to the other. But somehow, like Gary, he remains an optimist, choosing to be cheerful as he believes that his worst days are behind him. But that is yet to be seen. And may I say that Little Kato is one of Stephen Yeun's very best performances to date.
What happened to your mother?
I don't know. My dad never really talks about her.
Quinn Ergon and Nightfall, played by Tika Sumpter. In truth, Final Space is a love story. The events of the show are literally set in motion when Gary tries to impress Quinn by pretending to be a member of the Infinity Guard, and then destroying 92 space cruisers in a small family-owned Mexican eatery.
I should probably start by apologizing to you and, of course, the Sanchez family for blowing up their very mediocre restaurant.
He then spends most of his free time during his 5-year sentence on the Galaxy One sending video messages to Quinn, videos that are in the same style as Olan's old YouTube videos. And he does so believing that, in spite of his blunder, he still has a connection with Quinn. Sadly, this turns out not to be true.
No, seriously, I have no idea who you are.
Really?
You resemble no one I know.
And like Olan Rogers, when something major happens in Gary Goodspeed's life, it can only be expressed through dance.
Quinn doesn't even know who I am! Oh, no!
Quinn is a highly disciplined soldier who is married to her job, so she barely remembers Gary and sees no possibility of them ever having a romantic relationship until she meets Nightfall. Nightfall is a time variant of Quinn from the future, a future in which she fell in love with Gary, and then he sacrificed himself to close the breach to final space. So Nightfall goes back in time over and over again to try and alter the timeline in Gary's favor so he can survive his epic encounter with the Lord Commander. But the sad fact of the matter is that while they were always meant to be together, they were never meant to be. Gary Goodspeed and Mooncake, played by Olan Rogers. While losing his father might have been the worst day of Gary's life, ironically, it also led to a lot of good things. as it was that very explosion that created Mooncake, who in the future would take Gary on the adventures where he would meet his best friend, his adopted son, and reconnect with the love of his life.
Look, Gary, why do you even like me?
Because you're everything I'm not.
Gary, as a character, is the very definition of a hot mess. He screws up constantly, and most of his endeavors end with abject failure. But what's great about Gary is that he never lets that get him down, and he sure as hell doesn't use his imperfections as an excuse to give up. Gary Goodspeed may not be your stereotypical sci-fi hero, but he is loyal and brave and compassionate, and he always tries to do the right thing, even when the odds against him are astronomically overwhelming. So don't bother telling him the odds, because he will ignore them. And also, I'm pretty sure he won't understand them.
Approaching crush depth.
I can see your light.
I would advise you to go no further, seeing as I know you won't listen to me. Hurry.
Character design and animation. I find the character design in this show to be so aesthetically pleasing. Like Futurama meets Gravity Falls. The characters are stylized but functional, able to fit into the different tones of the show easily.
You idiot! That's my freaking arm! You just ripped off my arm!
The animation was handled by Shadow Machine, best known for their work on Robot Chicken, Moral Oral, and BoJack Horseman. And in my humble opinion, this is their best work so far, capturing Olan's extremely physical comedy style, as well as putting together some of the best action sequences you will ever see on any sci-fi series.
Something feels wrong. We landed on the wrong planet. Gosh dang it.
Season 1. This show has one of the absolute best inaugural seasons you will ever see, smoothly introducing each character and laying out the narrative with a quick but steady flow. It took me a while to figure out why the pacing of Season 1 seems so familiar, as it is fast enough to keep you engaged, but not too fast that it will confuse the audience. And then it hit me. Season 1's pacing is exactly the same as Olan's story videos on his YouTube channel, which is also the same speed and rhythm in which Gary speaks.
It's been eating me up inside, keeping the real Gary from you.
The pacing does slow down to a more traditional speed for the latter seasons, but for the most part in Season 1 it worked, as far as getting new viewers acclimated to a new universe, characters, and lore. As far as Gary's journey goes, Season 1 is mostly about him accepting the call to action as the story's main hero. While Gary is quick to risk his life for his friends, he still doesn't see himself as being worthy of the heroic mantle, even when told by Bolo, the Titan, played by Keith David, that it is his destiny to close the breach and save the universe. A destiny that he doesn't accept until he travels to the past and has a very beautiful conversation with his father, just moments before he sacrificed himself to close the original breach. This is one of the best scenes in the series, and made all the better by a heartwarming performance by the incomparable Ron Perlman.
What if I can't do it?
Try your best.
What if my best isn't good enough?
It's good enough for me.
And thus, the first arc comes to a close, with Quinn saving Gary by taking his place and closing the breach with the antimatter bomb and saving the universe, but trapping herself in final space, leaving Gary drifting slowly in the wreckage of their final battle with the Lord Commander, as he slowly runs out of oxygen with only Hugh's voice to keep him company, patiently waiting for the end.
You'll stay with me till the end.
Till the very end.
Thank you, Hugh.
It's been an honor to be your friend.
Man, what a bummer ending. Oh well, it's nothing super good dancing can't cure. Season 2. For the rest of the series, the episode number for each season increases from 10 to 13, and the show was moved from TBS to Cartoon Network's Adult Swim. Yes, Cartoon Network, the channel that initially turned down the show.
What the tough titty-wampus.
So we pick up right where season 1 left off, with Gary and Hugh drifting through space, only to be picked up by a garbage scow, where Hugh downloads himself into a garbage bot.
Hug me tight, Hugh.
Hugging.
Okay.
I missed you so much.
Soon after landing on a garbage planet, the team squad regroups, and they learn from Bolo that Quinn is still alive in final space, and the only way to save her is by freeing Bolo, using 5-dimensional keys. So our heroes board a new ship and set off on their new mission, along with a few new crewmates, like Clarence, played by Conan O'Brien, an intergalactic con artist and huckster who would sell his own mother for the right price.
Idea. I'm going to sell this place to some sucker. It doesn't even belong to you, Clarence.
Ash, played by Ashley Birch, an emotionally unstable one-eyed girl with supernatural abilities. Fox, played by Ron Funches, a Tribulian who renounced his people's warlike ways in hopes of finding a better life. And Tribor Menendez, played by Olan Rogers, who was the surprise fan-favorite character from season 1.
If only there was more help to call on. If only there was a resistance. Wait, there is a resistance, and I'm its leader.
So our heroes have a limited time to collect the dimensional keys, free Bolo, enter final space, and save Quinn before she dies drifting alone in space. There's just one itty-bitty little problem. There's one other person also looking for the dimensional keys, and this person just so happens to be the greatest thief in the entire universe, Cheryl Goodspeed, Gary's mother, played by Claudia Black. Yes, while Gary's father was a great hero, his mother is one of the most notorious criminals in the galaxy. So what we have here is a conflict of interest. In order for Gary to save his future girlfriend, he must compete with, deceive, and possibly steal from his own mother, which makes for some awesome drama.
Gary, your mother left with that family heirloom. It was
Let me guess. A dimensional key.
How did you know?
She's good at taking what's important to me.
But there's an additional wrinkle to the plot. The reason Final Space is sealed off from the rest of the universe is because it was intended to be a prison. And if Gary reopens Final Space to save Quinn, he might just give the thing imprisoned inside an opportunity to escape. And that thing just so happens to be the greatest evil the universe has ever known, Invictus. Played by, believe it or not, Vanessa Marshall. Seriously, this is one of her best voiceover performances ever.
The fool who died 1,000 deaths, preventing me from escaping this prison.
Invictus is a malevolent cosmic entity of unknown origins and unknown power limits. What we do know is that it has been manipulating the events of the show from the very beginning, using the Lord Commander as his main acolyte to reopen the breach and escape his prison.
I'm doing it already.
And thus, in the end, Cheryl reconciles with Gary and agrees to help him save Quinn. Sadly, Nightfall has to sacrifice herself to make the keys work. But her selflessness was not in vain, as our heroes make it into Final Space just in time to save Quinn, only to find themselves also trapped in Final Space along with her and Invictus. Well, that's another bummer ending. Which is nothing more super good dancing kick here.
Play the good stuff.
Season 3. Two quick things I want to highlight before we jump into this. Number 1, this season introduces the show's most beloved comfort character, Biscuit, the tiger type, played by Olan Rogers. Biscuit is a hyper-intelligent feline who was the one who received all of the videos Gary made for Quinn. Henceforth, the little guy has strong admiration for our favorite intergalactic knucklehead. Personally, I believe that Biscuit is meant to be an analog for Olan Rogers' YouTube fans.
You're even more beautiful in real life.
Okay, this one lives.
And secondly, this season contains one of the greatest performances in the entire series, and it was delivered by none other than Conan O'Brien.
What were their names? The love you lost?
Holly and Jed.
They would probably be ashamed of what you've become.
Anyway, Before Season 3 premiered, we were warned on social media by Olan Rogers that this was going to be the darkest season, and boy, did he undersell it. As per Final Space tradition, Season 3 takes off right where Season 2 left off. The Team Squad rescues Quinn, but now they are stuck in Final Space and must figure out a way to escape. In the process of which, they also discover that Invictus is building an army of Titans to invade our universe, and that all the people that got sucked into the breach during the climax of Season 1 are still alive, and that the crazy guy who created Kevin also created a way to kill all the Titans. Suffice it to say, there's a lot of internal conflict within the Team Squad within this season. Do they just escape on their own and leave the rest of humanity to perish in Final Space? Or do they open a breach big enough to allow the last remaining Earthlings to escape, but at the same time give Invictus and his Titans a way out of Final Space and therefore doom the rest of the universe? Plus, this story arc has so many wrinkles that if it was a shirt, it would be the kind you would never be able to wear to a formal event, because it would be so wrinkled that you would never be able to get the wrinkles out no matter how many times you ironed it. Firstly, Quinn is slowly dying of Final Space poisoning. Ash is being manipulated into betraying the rest of the group. The Lord Commander is now a Titan, and Invictus keeps chasing after the Team Squad with a horde of Gary zombies. And where did this evil cosmic entity get all these Gary zombies? You see, every time Lightfold traveled back in time to save Gary, she created a new timeline. And in every single one, Gary died closing the breach and saving everyone. And these are all the carcasses of all the Garys from all those timelines, which are now floating adrift in Final Space, because all timelines flow into Final Space. So now, Invictus uses them as his own private army of darkness.
That right there is without a doubt the single most terrifying thing I have ever seen. I mean, right now, the turds in my body are looking for the nearest emergency exit.
Suffice it to say, this season puts our heroes through the ringer. And in the end, Gary is forced to abandon Mooncake in Final Space so the Team Squad can make their escape safely back into our universe, only to discover that Invictus followed them through. And that's where the show ends, because it was cancelled, because of the goddamn motherfucking Warner Brothers Discovery merger that can go itself with a spiky metal right up the goddamn hole, along with motherfucking David that goddamn motherfucking douche canoe! Let's finish this. Final verdict. So in spite of the fact that it was cancelled way too soon and we may never know how it ends, I love this show. It was about friendship and family and love and about the human spirit. It was about a hapless screw-up who nobody believed in going further and achieving more than anyone ever expected. And never in my life have I ever related more to a character than Gary Goodspeed.
You gotta stop beating yourself up, man.
It's the only thing I'm good at.
10 points on the badassitude meter. Grab yourself some cookies, crank up the logins, and give it a watch. If you can find it, because not only was it cancelled, but it's also being used as a tax write-off, so it's being removed from all platforms. Which leads us to yet another bummer ending. And there's only one remedy for that.
Logins! No! I don't know what this is, but I like it.
What's happening? Am I dying? Oh, please say yes.
Oh no. Logins. It's going to get intense fast.
Been working. No, I gotta cut loose. Get it, you!
Oh, I've got it bad, Gary. Uh-oh, I'm gonna cut loose.
Oh no.
Oh, yes!
Come on. Oh, yes.
Oh no.
No, I gotta cut loose. Get it, you!
Oh, I've got it bad, Gary. Uh-oh, I'm gonna cut loose.